Hi, I'm Joe Swanberg. I make movies. Well, I make films. I think I make films for a lot of reasons. I think, I'm. There's definitely a sort of exhibitionist aspect to me that feels like things I have to say are worth saying. I think all filmmakers sort of have that. A lot of the work that I make is born out of frustration of things that I'm not seeing in movies. Conversations that I'm having in my life that I'm not seeing uh, in movies, or certain kinds of people that I'm meeting, or the certain kind of person that I am that I'm not seeing reflected. So I'm hoping the audience for those movies is also not seeing those people, or coming to the movies hoping to relate, or see themselves on screen in some way. I like directing and acting the most. But I've sort of discovered that I really like acting in other people's movies. I like acting in my own stuff, and I'll probably continue to do that. But it's really fun to be on another director's set and be able to perform in somebody else's sort of creative vision. And then I just still love directing. I just like being in that kind of collaborative atmosphere where I'm actually on set working with actors. I started uh, improvising because I felt like it was a way to resist my natural tendency to emulate other things that I had seen. So, I felt like the only way that I was going to accidentally make something original was to create a situation where I didn't know what was going to happen. And that started in an environment where I was shooting my own stuff. So as a director, I felt like if I just free the actors up to say whatever they want and move anywhere in the space that they want, then by default I'll just have to follow them with the camera, and I'll capture new images that way. Uh, I can't accidentally conceive of new images. I'll just have to sort of make that happen. And then I've continued to work that way because I really like the the collaborative aspect of it and the ownership that the performers have over the characters. The thrill that I still get is seeing somebody's personality emerge, seeing one person say something that actually makes the other person laugh. It's not I haven't written in a script a joke followed by a canned laughter or anything like that. Like, it's really fun for me to see the sort of performance drop away and to actually like reveal the person. And I feel like improvisation is still the best. I get the most of that through improvisation. I went to Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, and that the experience of going to school there was hugely influential on who I am now and the kinds of films that I still make. Um, it was it was a film-based education. We shot on 16 millimeter. We edited on Steambex. I conformed my own negative. We finished 2 film prints. It was really it was not a video program. It was 100% a film program. But I happened to be going to school there at the time where video technology was becoming affordable, and Final Cut Pro got released. And so, I was teaching myself all the video and digital stuff while I was going through a very sort of rigorous classical film program at the university. And the most important thing that they instilled in me was a sense of learning to do everything myself, learning to operate all of the equipment and be a kind of one-man band. And that's allowed me to make as many films as I've made, and it's allowed me to make films for as small budgets as I've made them for. That's changing constantly. I would say right now the filmmakers who are the biggest influences for me are Paul Mazursky and Elaine May. There have been definitely writers and musicians and people. David Foster Wallace um, and Don DeLillo's books are really influential in the way that I think about media. Tom Waits and Leonard Cohen and some people like that are still remain big influences on me. But yeah, I go through, with filmmakers, I go through pretty quick cycles on the stuff that's like sort of really exciting. I sort of have 1 or 2 experiences a year as a film goer that are important for me or influential for me. Raising Arizona is still sort of the big the big moment as a high school freshman, sort of just starting to discover my love of movies. That one really, or at least that movie was a big influence in first starting to understand what a director did, and like why Joel Coen's movie feels different than Steven Spielberg's movie, and that there were actually personalities behind the camera that were influencing the decisions that were getting made, and that one guy's sense of humor isn't the same as another guy's, and that's why I think this movie's funnier than that movie. My first movie premiering at South by Southwest was a really important moment for me. Just sort of feeling like some external validation that the things that I was interested in were interesting to other people. Hannah Takes the Stairs premiered at South by Southwest a few years later. That my parents came to see it. That was sort of a big. And then also when Hannah Takes the Stairs opened in New York at the IFC Center, and my parents were there, and could sort of like, I think, finally comprehend what I had been doing for all those years. The most powerful aspect of cinema to me is its ability to compress or expand time. I feel like that separates it from almost all other art forms. Years of somebody's life passing in a documentary or something, over the course of 90 minutes, watching a documentary subject have been followed for 15 years. And, conversely, being able to see things in slow motion and, just to sort of like remove an audience from time in that sense. Well, I still think seeing a movie in a theater with a group of people is the best way to experience the movie. I don't think it's the only way to experience the movie, and I don't think it's the only way to love a movie, because certainly I've fallen in love with movies on video, and those movies aren't any less important to me because I didn't see them in the theater. But if I have my choice, I still want to see a movie in a theater, and I still, especially for comedies or horror films or things like that, the experience of seeing it with a group of people is such a different experience, and I would argue a better, more fully realized experience, because of that sort of group participation. So, but I don't know if I'm making those kinds of movies. I actually think that the kind of intimate character films that I'm making can be really great experiences on a laptop with your headphones on or something. So, I'm kind of open to people seeing them in any way that they want. But it is really fun still for me as a filmmaker to show my movies in a theater and to sort of be able to see and hear an audience responding to them. This cinema is really an incredible space, and also, I'm already plotting my return here for several of the upcoming programs. So, we certainly didn't have a cinema like this where I went to school, and I'm very jealous of all the students at IU for having access to this place. Whatever the future of theatrical distribution may be, having really beautiful theater spaces at universities is going to become even more and more important, because you guys can exist a little bit outside of the typical commercial landscape. And also just, the ability to do repertory programming and retrospectives of filmmakers is going to become just an invaluable service that you guys are going to be able to offer